Okay, Liz, we're going to dive into a topic that we know you will have a lot to say about. So at a hearing yesterday, Britney Spears was given the authority to appoint her own lawyer. It's the latest development in her efforts to end her 13-year conservatorship. And Liz, you were in the courtroom yesterday. So what was it like being there? And what do you think is the impact of this decision?
So it was really surreal being in the courtroom yesterday, and it was a really busy day in Britney's case. And the big news, as you know, was that she was finally able to choose her own lawyer, which sounds pretty basic to outsiders. You're probably saying, hasn't she always had that ability? And it's pretty shocking. No, for the last 13 years, she's had a lawyer that she hadn't chosen. And the lawyer that she's chosen now is this top Hollywood lawyer. He's a former federal prosecutor, and he came in very tough yesterday. He called for Britney's father, Jamie, to resign repeatedly, saying he wants to investigate everything about the conservatorship. And it really seemed to mark a big turning point in the case where, things are going to get very aggressive towards the conservatorship.
Reading about that moment, it sounded like a movie. Did it feel like a movie? That turning point in the movie where the tide shifts?
It did. And, the lawyer that Britney chose looks the part, too. He's got this, great hairstyle, and he was very dashing in the courtroom. It was a big change, night and day from, prior court proceedings in the case. And I should also add that Britney spoke yesterday, which also added to the emotion. She, said she was on the phone, but she's said, this has ruined my life. She over and over again said that she wants her dad removed. And at one point she got audibly upset. It even seemed like she was crying. And, almost everyone in the courtroom was really stunned and, even teary-eyed themselves.
You know what? I always find that in a lot of celebrity cases, the celebrity type lawyer, I don't know why, if it's just me, seems to have a bad rap. Like, they're there doing dirty work. And in this case, though, I feel like Matthew, might actually be a really, seemingly feels like everybody feels like he might be a really great fit for her. So, how significant is it that this is the guy?
It's very, very significant. And as you know, sometimes it's hard to discern whether Hollywood types are just performing or what exactly is going on behind the scenes. But Matthew was really, really tough. He's a former federal prosecutor. He's done, public corruption cases in the U.S. government. He's gone after, criminals. And I think what was really striking was just how strong he was advocating for Britney. And that had really never happened before.
Hey, Liz, I'm so curious because you were in the courtroom and you just mentioned you heard Britney speak. Framing Britney Spears is one of the reasons, quite instrumental in terms of this process. A lot of people saw it, started talking about it, and really generated a lot of momentum in addition to the Free Britney movement in getting Britney to this point. But in the making of that documentary, you have said you had no access to Britney. You had great sources, did great research, but you really didn't have any contact with her. So being in a courtroom, then hearing her voice, speaking for herself, how did that feel for you as a filmmaker, as someone who produced this, as someone who's been living this story for a long time?
It was stunning. I mean, I have chills even just hearing you ask that question. It really brought me back to being in the courtroom yesterday and to Britney's speech that she gave on June 23rd, where she really, for the first time, broke her silence about how unhappy she's been and how much she wants changes.
Do you think, Liz, that she had said, I think it was in the first court hearing, that she would like to sue her family? And that was sort of a kind of shocking statement. Do you think that she'll go through with that? And then wouldn't that sort of just be that she's suing them for money that is actually rightfully hers?
Yeah, that last point is a really good question. People note that, Britney has to pay for lawyers on both sides of this conservatorship, including her father's lawyers. Her father, as conservator, has been paid not only a very good salary, but he's also gotten a percentage of her big multi-million-dollar deals. So there's a lot of money that was spent that, in the end, Britney had earned. And whether or not Britney's going to be able to sue her family, is unclear. I think it seems as if her main focus is getting out of the conservatorship. And as part of that, it does make you wonder whether there will be a full investigation of what her father has done as conservator.
I want to jump off, Liz, with something that Lainey was talking about, not only your documentary with framing Britney Spears, but the fan base that has been largely and very visible throughout this particular last, few years of her conservatorship. What was it like? Did you get to engage with some of her followers that were outside? And to follow that, when we talk about firsts, like hearing Britney for the first time only last month, only the second time yesterday, she's also reaching out to her fans in a very clear way, not the let's decipher the Instagram post way, in a very clear way. It's like she has literally found her voice, and maybe for one of the first times reaching out to that fan base who may be, as history may show, largely responsible for her emancipation if it goes that way.
Yeah, so I was inside of the courtroom yesterday, but my colleague Samantha was outside of the building, and she was spending time with the fans who were there with the Free Britney signs. And she said it was unlike anything she'd ever seen before. There were, people literally chanting out about someone being able to hire their own lawyer, which again, sounds like, what? That's, has that not always been the case? So Samantha said the energy yesterday among the fans and the people out there in the Free Britney movement was really powerful. And as you note, yesterday, Britney for the first time posted on Instagram using the hashtag Free Britney, which was something that she hadn't done before and was really, really big because this conversation before that had been being had about her. And now it seems as if it's being had with her finally.
Well, when we talk about Free Britney, of course, the goal is for Britney to have her freedom. But one of the other consequences, not consequences, but great things about Britney having her freedom is that there are many indications that Britney wants to retire, that she no longer wants to perform, she no longer wants to be that pop icon. And so should she be successful in this journey, Liz, do you think that Britney Spears, the entertainer, will recede from the spotlight?
Yeah, so it seems as if in the immediate future, she wants to take a break from performing. And, she spoke on the June 23rd hearing about wanting to start a family, wanting to have a baby, with her current partner, Sam. And so it seems as if, taking a break is on the immediate horizon, though, people often point out that Britney likes to get out there and perform, and she is a very active person. So I think it's quite possible, in the future, she will be back out there.
Maybe under all her own terms for the first time in over 13 years. Listen, we want to remind everybody, if you have not seen Liz's documentary, Framing Britney Spears, it is streaming right now on Crave. It's a wow. We are going to take a very quick break. Liz, luckily, is sticking around. We'll be back right after this.